I'm a spirit I love. He's just good people. Like all of you, you're just good people. I enjoy the presence of all of you. You good people. You give off your essence. And it feels good. But how do you see the people of the Bible? Do you in any way make them like you? When I was reading through this chapter of Hebrews, 11th chapter, in its entirety, and it began to talk about all of the individuals who did all these great things, these miraculous things, these things that seemed impossible. I raised a question within myself. Could I have done that? When you read the Bible, do you ever ask yourself, could I do that? Could I be that way? Could I do these impossible things that they did? Could I have the courage that they had? Could I make myself available to God the way in which they made themselves available? Do I have the right stuff to do that? To be that? Because these are the type of things that I do when I read the Bible. I raise questions within myself. Am I obedient like that? Do I have the desire, the will? Am I humble? Am I bold? Can God use me like that? Well, when I read through this particular chapter, there was one thing that all of them had. Faith. They believed that God could, would, and can. And the things in which they did, these miraculous things in which they did, the way in which they made themselves available, all began from one simple place. A trust in God. A belief that God was at work in their lives and that God was behind the scenes orchestrating every step that they took. They believed that God was with them. And so I raised the question this morning, do you see yourself in that same light? Do you live each and every day from a place of faith? Do you wake up in the morning and begin your day believing God is with me? That God is with me every step that I take, every breath that I breathe, that God is with me. Are you on the journey of today? Did you wake up this morning believing God is with me? Did you wake up this morning feeling empowered because you know that God has your day? Do you walk from a place of all the tasks that are before you? You will achieve them no matter how strenuous, no matter how challenging, no matter how difficult. You believe God is with me, and therefore I will succeed. Are you operating from that place right now? In all of the unfoldings in each of your lives right now, are you approaching it from a place of faith? God is with me. And I don't even know your stuff. I got my own stuff to deal with. But I believe that if I operate from a place of faith, if I move from a place of faith, because each one of these characters that we hear about in the 11th chapter of Hebrews, they all were flesh like you and I. But God gave them what looked like impossible tasks to do. And he walked with them. And so I raised the question this morning, do you believe, are you faithing your life knowing that God is with you? That you go to work, or you sit in your retirement, or you accept the challenges that are before you, are you operating by faith? Do you believe that God is right here in this present moment with me? Because I'm going to tell you something, church, and you may not have picked up, and maybe you have picked on, but every time I walk into this pulpit, I'm nervous as a bullfrog. I don't know if a bullfrog can be nervous. Can he? I don't know. Okay. But anyway, I approach this pulpit from a place of faith that God is going to be with me because I do not like public speaking. Never have. I'd rather be in the background. Tell me what to do, how to do it, and I'll get it done. But I don't like being out front. But this is my calling, so I have to operate from a place of faith. I have to believe that God will empower me to have the right words and say the things in a manner that makes sense because I know that God has a calling on my life. And so it is by faith that I approach what I do. But I'm asking the question this morning. Do you see every day that God gives you from the perspective of faith that God is with you? With all the challenges. Some of us are in leadership positions. But are you operating in your leadership position from a place of faith? Most of us in here are parents. But the question is, are you operating as a parent from a place of faith? That you are parenting from a place of faith, believing that God is with you in your parenting and that God will make you a strong parent, a loving parent, a compassionate parent. This morning when I was coming up 85, I thought about the truckers that we have in the congregation. Because there was one, I was approaching one of the 18-wheelers, and it kept weaving. And I've been told that when they are weaving, move away from them because they may be falling asleep. And so I moved over into the other lane to pass him or her. And then I looked in my rearview mirror and they were still weaving. And I became concerned because I'm going that person may be exhausted. And so from a place of faith, I began to pray for the driver of the truck. So our lives should be one of faith where we believe that not only is God with us, but that God is with all of His creation. But are all of His creation leaning and depending on Him? And so I asked the question this morning, are you operating by faith? Do you believe that God is with you in whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing, whatever movements that you are making? When I look at these stories and these names pop out and what they did, sometimes I go, there is no way I could do that. But then in retrospect, I realize I have been living from a place of faith all my life. I am not where I am because of good luck. It's because of my trust in the God that created me, the God that has placed me in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I know that God is with me. But I ask you, do you believe that your faith in God is what's keeping you? What has caused the success that you have had and is having? Do you believe that it is your faith that has anchored you through all of your life journey? When you look back over your life, you will know God has shown up time after time after time after time after time. God has always been there, but have you been trusting Him? Abraham left home to go to a country that God would show him. Moses, with his articulation problems, he says, I don't speak well. He had his limitations. But God says, I take you with your limitations. Enoch, all of these individuals that you read through in this chapter, in chapter 11, they did not lean to their own understanding, but they trusted God. They trusted God for every unfolding in their lives. And I raised the question with you this morning. At this crossroad that you're at right now, at this juncture that you are in life, both young and old, this place that you find yourself, how are you approaching it? In this transition of life, I wake up every morning and I say, God, thank you. I made another day. Because I know the days ahead of me are not as long as the days behind me. I get it. I know that my days are numbered. But all of our days are numbered. And it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have a long life. Because some of my classmates that started the journey with me are no longer here. And some of them have been gone for 10 and 15 and 20 years, and maybe a little bit longer on a few others. They had a short journey. What are you getting at, Pastor? What I'm getting at is that when we read our Bibles and we see these individuals who did miraculous and extraordinary things, they were just like you and I. And we are doing amazing and extraordinary things. But I want to know if you're doing it by faith. That you have made yourself available to God because you believe that God is able to use you also. Take some time when you get home today. Take some time and read through chapter 11 of Hebrews, the entire chapter. Pause along the way and look at the life of the individual. And if you need to go back and do a little research on what each individual did, it briefly speaks of what each individual did. But what they did was sometimes appeared to be impossible. But what does the word say? Nothing is impossible. You have the faith to believe that. Young people, I don't know what you're doing now, what you want to be. Here's a little insight. Have faith. Have faith in God. Because it says it was by faith that all of these individuals achieved what they achieved. By faith, by trusting. Paul says now by faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. Listen to it again. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. I don't see it, but I believe it's possible. I don't understand it, but I know God is able. Some of you sitting here got some stories to tell, and you need to start telling it. How by faith you got out of what you were tangled up in. I heard a thank God over here. By faith, you believe that God had mercy on your soul, that God loved you. By faith, you believe that God was the God of a second chance. By faith, you believe that God could do the impossible. By faith, you understood nothing is impossible with God. If God said it, that's it, and I believe it. That's what I'm talking about this morning. That you took a hold of that faith and said, okay, God, let's go. It's just me and you. But we're going to make it. You know when people wrote you off and you said, I'll show them? You were having a faithing moment where you believe that, okay, I know the odds are stacked against me. I know I ain't got nobody to help me but me, myself, and I. But I'm going to take me, myself, and I'm journeying on. The old folks said it this way: I'm going to run on and see what the end is going to be. What they were saying was, I'm going to take my faith, I'm going to throw it over my shoulder, and I'm going to journey on. Because I believe that God is with me. I believe that God is able to do what he said he would do. That's what it means to have faith. There's a funny thing going on right now with Zuri. I guess y'all say Zuri story again. Yeah, Zuri story again. Zuri wants to walk, but Zuri is scared to let go. That describes a lot of our faith sitting up in here this morning. As long as Zuri got my finger, it only takes one. I'll just give her my finger and she's cool with it. As long as she can hold my finger, she'll step all day long. But here's what happened. The minute I take her little hand off my finger, Zuri sits down. She's like, no, this standing stuff ain't for me, Pop. She sit down. Is that what some of you all are doing? You're scared to test. You're scared to test the faith of standing by yourself. It was funny. I got her distracted one time the other day. I got her distracted and I let go of her hand. And because she was busy looking at something else, she was standing by herself. And she was fine with it until she realized I was not holding her hand. And she sat down. I laughed. She laughed. I got her up and carried on back to the room. And we played and continued. But I saw there what happens with a lot of us. When it's time for us to trust the strength within us that God has given us. Zuri can walk if she wants to, but she's not ready to because she's afraid. You and I represent that same thing. If we would trust in Him who is able. If Zuri would trust what God has given her, legs and feet to walk. Oh, I know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. But it hasn't clicked for her up here. And for you and I, some of us, it hasn't clicked up here yet that we are ready to do the impossible. We are ready to do the amazing. But you got to be willing to trust God and believe He is able to do beyond what you even can imagine. That's what it is to have faith. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Amen, amen, and amen. Let us stand. The doors of the church are open for invitation to Christian discipleship. If there's one today that says, Lord, I trust you, I believe you, and I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to believe that you are able to do beyond what even I desire that you do. And I'm going to trust you. Doors of the church are open. Invitation to Christian discipleship is extended. The altar is open for prayer. If there's those who step out on faith this morning and says, I'm going to go publicly talk to God about what's going on, the altar is open for prayer. In the near future, we are glad to have you in our worship service today. I had announced that we needed to have a business meeting following service this morning, and so our guests, we're not asking you to leave, but we have a business meeting that we need to do, and so if you would just slip out for a few minutes. This business meeting shouldn't take no more than 10 minutes. So if you're here with family, we should not be holding your family up but for about 10 minutes. Amen? Come on now, we just finished worship. Can y'all say amen a little bit louder? Amen, amen, amen. All right. I'm going to ask Deacon Hicks if he would take over now.